So let's dive into this latest controversy around the Epstein case. It's like the way it's being handled might really, really shake the very core of Trumpism, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's almost as though this whole Epstein saga is turning into a litmus test for loyalty, right?
Exactly. And you see Trump standing by his Attorney General Pam Bondi, even as the MAGA base is firing off criticism. It's a
Yeah,
fascinating play of political signals.
absolutely. And what's interesting is that it's not just about legal proceedings, it's about the optics. People are starting to wonder, how does sticking with Bondi affect Trump's base?
Right. Political analyst Anthony Coley even remarked that the handling of this case could become a threat to Trumpism itself. In other words, it might undermine the very ideology his voters have rallied behind.
That's a powerful statement. It implies that this is more than just about one case. It's about the identity of his movement.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. And then you've got voices like Heath Mayo from Principles First, who bring a whole different perspective on the matter. They suggest that a misstep with Epstein isn't going to be easily forgotten by the MAGA crowd.
Right, it's like each controversial handling adds another layer of doubt among voters. It almost becomes a domino effect.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And think about it. It's like when you have major scandals in political history, the way they're managed has a longer lasting impact. It's like if you mishandle this case, you risk shooting yourself in the foot, politically speaking.
True, although I wonder, isn't there a risk that rallying around Bondi might also be seen as an act of defiance? Like he might be trying to make a statement against internal criticism?
That's an interesting angle, I agree. There's definitely a tension here. On one hand, standing by Bondi signals loyalty. On the other, it might alienate a swath of supporters who are just fed up with this Epstein connection.
Right, and it kind of makes you ask, what strategy is actually at play? Maintaining a consistent line or just doubling down on what's already polarizing the base?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also about credibility. If voters start to feel that there's a disconnect between what Trump says and what his inner circle does, that could erode trust pretty fast.
It's like a relationship. Trust builds over time, and it only takes one major slip up to unravel that, right?
Exactly, it's that delicate balance. And in the current climate, even small missteps loom large. The Epstein case isn't just another scandal, it's become a symbol of systemic issues in the broader movement.
But isn't there also the argument that, these controversies have always been part of the game in politics? I mean, a lot of figures face similar criticisms. What makes this one so uniquely damaging?
That's a good point, but I'd say it's different because of the scale and the symbolism. Epstein, with his notorious reputation, isn't your run of the mill case. It's like a seismic event when tied to someone as polarizing as Trump, especially when his base is so vigilant about any potential signs of betrayal.
I hear you. It's almost like the MAGA movement has developed a very low tolerance for any perceived inconsistency or betrayal in their ranks.
Exactly. And here's where the analysis gets really interesting. Some, like Coley, are warning that if this handling continues, it might even spur a revolt within the base. Because, well, when your core supporters feel let down, the repercussions can be massive.
Yeah, I can see that. The political landscape can change so quickly when even a fraction of your base starts feeling disillusioned.
Yeah. And remember, this isn't happening in isolation. There's constant media scrutiny. MSNBC, for instance, has been highlighting the intense backlash. That kind of exposure, coupled with internal dissent, can really accelerate a political crisis.
True, the media plays a huge role in amplifying these issues. Constant coverage can make the event seem larger than life, which feeds into the narrative that things are falling apart.
Right, and that narrative can be like self fulfilling. The moment your supporters start to believe that the leadership is out of touch, it creates space for more critical voices and even dissenting factions to emerge.
I get that. But don't you think some supporters might actually appreciate the continued loyalty to Bondi as a sign of strength? It's almost a display of unwavering commitment, even in the face of adversity.
Sure, there's that argument. Some fans might see it as A principled stand. However, the problem is, once a crisis of confidence sets in, even firmer support can erode quickly. It's a double edged sword.
Right, it's like sticking with a risky strategy. You might signal loyalty, but you also risk alienating more moderate members or those who are just tired of the scandals.
Absolutely. And the political analyst Coley specifically mentioned that this issue might be the greatest crisis of confidence Trump has faced from his voters. That's a pretty stark statement.
Stark indeed. While I understand the gravity, I'm not entirely sold on the idea that this is the biggest threat. It seems a bit hyperbolic to me. Do you think there's an alternative perspective?
I can see where you're coming from, but consider the context. The Epstein case carries decades of infamy and criminality. When that's mixed up with a political identity as charged as Trumpism, it creates an explosive mix that not only undermines trust but also reshapes internal dynamics.
Fair enough. I mean, the symbolism is undeniable. And the fact that MAGA voters are so sensitive to any missteps really amplifies the risk.
Yeah, exactly. The sensitivity here is key. Every action is magnified by the intense public and media scrutiny, which is why sticking rigidly to a controversial figure like Bondi can have unintended consequences.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of forces you to think about how political loyalty is no longer just about policies, but manages the narrative and symbolism too.
Right, it's like politics has evolved into this high stakes game of image and perception. And in such a game, a single controversy can tip the scales.
Yeah, and frankly, in today's media climate, any misstep gets amplified. It's a bit like a microchip where the tiniest glitch can shut down the whole circuit, isn't it?
Exactly, that's a great analogy. It's like one small overheated transistor causing a chain reaction. And given the continual coverage by outlets like MSNBC, those glitches, they're on full display.
Right? And while some might argue that, controversies are par for the course, when one involves Epstein, the historical weight makes it particularly damaging.
Absolutely. It's not just any scandal, it's one that brings long standing issues of morality, legality, and political trust to the forefront. And in the current polarized atmosphere, even subtle cracks can become gaping faults.
Yeah, that really captures it. It's a multifaceted threat: legal, symbolic, and importantly, a challenge to the loyalty dynamics within Trump's base.
Right, and it might force Trump's camp to either recalibrate their messaging or face the growing discontent internally. And that recalibration could mean distancing from figures whose handling of such a high profile case provokes backlash.
Exactly, which brings us back to the central dilemma. Do you stand by your longtime allies and risk the movement's credibility, or do you pivot quickly in the face of overwhelming public sentiment?
And that's the crux of it. It's a strategic tightrope. On one side, you have historical loyalty, and on the other, the urgent necessity to maintain voter confidence. A miscalculation in either direction could be truly costly.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many commentators are keeping a close eye on this. It's not just about the Epstein case anymore. It's about the very future of Trumpism and its internal cohesion.
Exactly. And as we watch this unfold, it's a reminder that in politics, especially in today's high intensity environment, every decision carries a heavy load of consequences, and sometimes those consequences can rewrite the rules of the game.
Absolutely. It'll be really interesting to see how Trump's camp adjusts its strategy amid this growing internal scrutiny and public backlash.
Yeah, for sure. Ultimately, the Epstein handling might end up being a pivotal moment, a turning point in how the Trump movement is perceived both inside the group and by the broader public.
Definitely a situation worth watching closely. It raises so many questions about loyalty, strategy, and political survival in a hyper-connected media world.
Absolutely. And if history's taught us anything, it's that public sentiment can shift in ways that no one can predict. This case might very well be the catalyst for broader change, or at least a serious re-evaluation of current alignments.
Right. And while some might call it hyperbolic, I see the potential risk as very real indeed.
Yeah, it's a fascinating, albeit turbulent time in politics. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled as this story evolves and see what it means for both Trumpism and the broader political landscape.
Agreed. Thanks for unpacking that. It really gives us a lot to think about as the saga continues.